All right. How's it going, Cuzzy Wuzzies? What's up, YouTube? We are back, man. It's good to be back. Yeah, I've been on a little bit of a hiatus. I'm not gonna get too much into it on this video because this video is not about that. All you need to know is I just needed that time off for my personal kind of for some personal things. But we're back. We're good. We're better than ever. We're feeling good. And the plan is to start going nuts on the content, guys. Rest assured, I want to produce so much more stuff going forward this year. But anyway, let's just move on to the topic of the video at hand. We're talking about last Epoch today. And what is last Epoch? Last Epoch is well, I want to say it's a new ARPG that is about to fully launch on February 21st. But it's been around for years. It's been around forever, but it's been around in a beta state. Early development, early access, all that kind of stuff. But I've been dabbling with it for about a year, I want to say. Maybe a little bit more than that. I have just about, maybe just a little over 200 hours in the game. But this game's great. This game is fantastic, and it's been fantastic for the last, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe even more than that. The game is incredibly polished right now. It feels fantastic. It has so much going for it. Basically, it's, in terms of complexity, it's somewhere in between Diablo 4 and Path of Exile, right? Path of Exile is for brain-broken idiots like me who like extremely complicated and difficult content. Diablo 4, on the other hand, is for couch dads, right? People that don't have a lot of time, that don't want to kind of burden themselves with these incredibly complicated builds. So you don't have to think a lot in Diablo 4. So that's kind of like more on a casual, very casual side. And last Epoch, sorry, it found its niche right in between those two aspects. Like super grindy, super complicated, super difficult, and absolutely casual, focused, easy as shit, you know, brain dead kind of game. Last Epoch is just, for me personally, I feel like it's perfect in terms of complexity, because it's, for me personally, it's way easier to just jump in and figure it out without having to go to guides, without having to go to the third-party websites to figure out, or having stuff like a path of building, so you can like test your builds and see what works, see what doesn't work outside of the game first, so that you can apply it in-game. Here, you don't need to do that. You can just start playing. It's complicated enough where it has a lot of options for you. You can go whatever way you want, and chances are it will work up until a certain point of the game. But at the same time, it's really easy to understand. Like, you don't have to break your brain about it. Like, there's just enough complexity to keep you going, to keep you entertained, to keep your kind of, you know, brain cells flowing around. But basically, point is, you don't have to have a PhD in this game to start playing it and to start kind of playing it well and navigating through it the same way you would in Path of Exile, for example. So it's very fun, and it's finally fully releasing on February 21st And I thought, you know, we have about 10 days left, so I'm gonna drop this video for, you know, people that are looking to play this game, for new players. Maybe you're still kind of confused about what you want to start playing when the game comes out, because basically what I've been doing for the last week or so, I wanted to test a couple of builds to see for myself what I want to start with, because, you know, as I said, I have about 200 hours in this game. I kind of know what I'm doing, but again, there's more that I don't know, but I do know some stuff. And yeah, it took a couple days. I did not boost myself with party play. I did not use any leveling uniques, nothing that could, even though I had them, but like I just wanted to simulate solo self-found experience on this. So what is the build, essentially? That was a long ass fucking intro, sorry about that. So what is the build? Build is a cold Werebear Druid that just slams everything, freezes everything, and does so much fucking damage. It's unbelievable. Right, so how it works. So you have a Druid, and you know, obviously you start as a normal Druid form, human form, but then what we have is we have a Werebear form as a Druid class. So once you specialize into Druid at some point in the campaign, you want to go Druid. So you can go Shaman, you can go Beastmaster, but this specific build is a Druid build, and you'll have access to a Werebear form once you do that. That means that every time you press that button, you go into a bear form. And look at how gorgeous that white fur is. It doesn't really require any specific items. Like, you can build this build with just normal rare items, and that is it. But once you start progressing through the monoliths, you ideally want to get yourself this set right here, Fragments of the Shattered Lands. Basically, this is a fantastic set if you want to build a melee-based cold damage character, which we are. We're doing melee damage, cold damage, and that's pretty much it. And this set is super easy to get. You get it from the Stolen Lands monolith, from the last boss of this monolith, and it's a 50-50% chance of dropping either your relic or a sword. Basically, it took me, on this run alone, it took me about 4 times, 4 kills of that boss, 4 runs, to get both items. There's a guaranteed drop every time, but it's a 50-50 between whether he drops the sword or if he drops the relic. So basically, I went and killed him 4 times. I got 3 relics out of it and 1 sword. But it's just, you know, if you get lucky, you get it in 2 runs, both of them. And once you have that, you're golden. Like, for your, basically your, at this point, your damage is insane, because this set together will boost your cold damage dramatically. And as you can see, it says as a 2-piece set, like once you have the full set, it grants you a bonus 15 increased melee cold damage per 10 health regen. Now, health regen is another crucial part of this build. So basically, in this build, for offense, we're scaling melee damage, melee cold damage, freeze rate, and attack speed. That's all. That's all. It's a very simple build. I mean, you can also add freeze rate multiplier on top of that, but chances are, like, for example, once you have these items, they basically have everything you need. It's melee cold damage, it's increased cold damage, it's freeze rate multiplier, and it has health regen. So now, health regen. For defenses, all we're building is health, we're stacking health, we're stacking health regen, and I would prioritize health regen over health, but a lot of health is also good. We're also stacking armor and endurance. So again, just 4 things that we kind of need, and obviously we're watching our resistances here and there. As you can see, you know, again, you don't have to have all of them at 75. You don't have to have all of them capped. Just because you're going to be losing too much on your offensive stats. Just the way this game works, there's too many resistances, which means you need to have a lot of stats, a lot of space on your gear for the resistances. But the good thing that this game also has is the idle system, which are these items right here. It's kind of like charms in Diablo 2. They're just, but you don't keep them here. There's a special stash for them, thankfully, so they don't take up any space in your inventory. Like the ones that I have in my inventory right now, they're just there because I placed them there. They don't actually add anything to the character. They'll only start adding those stats that they have on them once you place them into the idle slots. So between the idle slots and your gear, you want to kind of, you know, balance your resistances the best you can. I would suggest just getting, you know, physical, necrotic, maybe poison, and one of the elemental resistances to the cap, and then the rest can be like close to the cap at this point anyway, and you're feeling great. Now the uniques, you also want ideally to have this body armor, but you don't have to have it. But again, it's very good because it gives all elemental resistances. It gives a lot of strength. Strength is very good for us too. So if we can get strength, we take it. It has 70% increased elemental damage. That's so much damage. It has flat cold damage while in Werebear form. And kind of gives us a little bit more rage sustain. And it makes us a polar bear. Because normally our fur, we would look like a brown bear. And with this body armor, we look like a polar bear, which is the sickest thing ever. I mean, and that's it. The only one other thing that you might see in other kind of Werebear, cold Werebear guides, the guys kind of use this helmet. I tried it. It's a very good helmet, don't get me wrong. It has all the stats that we need as well. Basically, cold damage, health regen, flat health, but it also converts the Warcry to cold. But the way I built my character, my Warcry already is kind of spec'd into cold damage. So effectively, I don't really need this helmet for that purpose. It does have a lot of armor too, as a base. But I tried to run with it. And because I opted to use these gloves for myself, because they're just so good for this build. Because we use swipe as our main skill, or one of the main skills, these gloves become so good, and because they give us +1 to our skill to swipe. They give us increased cold damage, they give us health, they give us more cold res, and +1 to all attributes, which is also great. And I had these gloves that I found them with 1 legendary potential, so I also crafted 11 strength on top of them, which is insane. All in all, I find that because I already spec'd my Warcry into cold, I don't really need this helmet because I'm using these gloves. And if I'm using these gloves and this helmet together, I'm losing a lot on my defenses. I basically became way squishier once I wore this helmet, because on my current helmet I have vitality plus strength and shit tons of regen and armor as well as a base. But if you want to run with this helmet, you can then replace these gloves with rare gloves or purple. These are also basically, purples are also rare. They just have a extra locked kind of tier 6, 7 stat on them. When it comes to the idols, I ideally you would want to go for something like these and have a lot of them. Just increased melee damage or increased cold damage and cold, like, you know, just a bunch of damage idols. But at this stage, if your resistances are not fixed by just your gear, and because we're kind of, you know, we're 1, 2, 3, 4 slots that are not that are unique slots basically, which means you probably won't have a lot of versatility in terms of stats, and you won't get a lot of like resistances and stuff from these slots. So you effectively losing 4 slots to sacrifice for these items, and you have to fix the rest of your gear with just these couple of other pieces, which is more this is probably the most difficult part of building this character. But again, I've done a decent enough job for myself so far, and I'm only level 75. You know, once you get to higher corruption levels and even beyond 100, you'll start getting crazy gear, crazy items, and I don't think resistances will be a problem at that point. So ideally, in your idle slots, you would want to have things like these, which increase your damage, increase your cold, increase your melee, increase your freeze rate, maybe some health regen stuff. I kind of have a lot of just random shit right now, but because, you know, I'm solo self-founding basically for this character, and whatever I got so far I'm using. So now let's jump and look at our skills. So we're a druid in a bear form, so we're scaling skills this way. We're using swipe, we're using upheaval, we're using our werebear form, obviously, Warcry, and entangling roots. So swipe is our bread and butter skill. This is the skill that basically you auto attack with. This is our main source of sustainability. It will leech health with it, will leech rage with it. So we went for Way of the Hunt, all 5 points, because this is basically where we get our crazy health leech from, or part of it. It's very important for us. And just flat damage. This is also just damage and more area. Culling. This is basically your you're calling. So every time someone's at 14% or lower, we kill them immediately. Very good for bossing. Aspect of the Panther. This is basically just you gain these Panther stacks that increase your damage, and obviously with 5 points into Aspect of the Panther, you get 5 stacks by itself. Then we went to Feline Hunter, which gives us attack speed and cast speed. Well, we don't care about the cast speed. We care about attack speed a lot. And then we went into Lion's Strength, and this basically gives us 2 extra Panther stacks. So basically, we have 5 on its own from this passive, and then we get 2 extra from this passive. And also it gives us flat melee damage per stack. So effectively we have 7 stacks, which means that's plus 14 melee damage flat that we get from this point. Now, upheaval. Upheaval is, so basically this is your swipe. Now, this only gets better the more your attack speed is, because the faster we attack, the more leech we get, the faster we regenerate, the faster we gain rage back. It's all crazy. We have a way of increasing our attack speed from Warcrying, and we get this Berserk stat. I'll get to the Warcry in a second. So basically, Berserker stats give us, each Berserker stat increases our attack speed and damage as well. So once you have all of them, you attack pretty quickly. So so upheaval. Upheaval is another bread and butter skill, but it has a cooldown, which means that we can't spam it as much as we can with swipe. But it's just a big ass AoE slam that just annihilates everything every time we do it. Anyway, so that's upheaval. That's how it looks. And basically we want to scale it with cold, because it's a great way to freeze enemies, to slow them down, to chill them, and yeah, it's just an incredible skill on its own. Like, it's just, it does so much damage. It's basically your Hulk smash kind of thing. Anyway, so Unstoppable Strength. This is just flat damage and stun chance. Excavating Blows. This creates more fault lines. We don't really care about this, but we need this point to get into Erupting Earth. This basically is the point that allows... So normally your upheaval would go in front of you, in one direction. In whatever direction you hit, it would go like in one line. With this thing, it creates 3 lines instead of 1. But what this does is it now creates... It goes in all directions around us, like an AoE. It makes a circle around us and it just goes outwards, which is why it's one of the best clearing skills, I think, in the entire game. So this is like one of the first things you want to get to. Then we have 3 points in Inexhaustible. This is just gives us armor shred chance and decreases the cost of the skill. We have 1 point in Mantle Strike. This gives us base crit chance, and the upheaval cannot be dodged, which is also kind of cool. I don't know if this is the most important node to us, which I'll talk about later. But here, then we have Maiming Rubble, just because we need to get to this part. We get 2 points into this. You know, bleed chance, slow chance. all useful things to us. Slow is more useful than a bleed, obviously. But this is the important bit now. Glacial Cascade. Upheaval's base physical damage is converted to cold. So now this node effectively makes our upheaval skill a cold skill. And from now on, it will be able to freeze, it will be able to chill, and it will scale with cold damage instead of physical damage. So, and then we have 2 points in cold front, which is another 40 to our freeze rate. And then we went 5 points into frozen collision. Upheaval deals additional melee cold damage. So this is basically more flat cold damage and more damage to frozen enemies. And we're freezing quite a bit, so this works all the time. So alternatively, instead of using the point on this thing, you could go Sublimation. You cast Shatter on enemies you kill with Upheaval, a spell subskill dealing cold damage in an area. So this might be a better option. Again, why this is not a perfect skill point, because I don't think we're crit based build. Again, this was I was testing things, right? That was the whole point of this project. I wanted to see what's the best way to build this character. I've played a version of this, but I've played a lightning version of this Werebear kind of a variant instead of cold. So going cold is new to me, so I'm trying to figure out what is the best way to deal with certain things. And I thought that increasing crit chance kind of will be good, because we're attacking quite quickly with swipe. So that means if we have a lot of crit, or we're attacking a lot, we'll do more crits more often and more damage that way. But even with all my spec into the crit on the passive trees, on skills and on character passive trees, I basically took all the crit nodes I could, and we're still at like 10% crit chance right now. I believe it's melee critical strike chance 9%. So I don't think going crit with this character is the way. So I would unspec out of all the crit nodes, all the crit passives, and just do something else. Like alternatively, you could go another point here, or you could take Sublimation, or you could, take point in, so you slow enemies more here. So there are ways you could do this. Even another point here for more damage. So it's up to you guys how you want to do this. This was basically like a test subject for me. That's why I've done it this way. Werebear form. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because this specialization is basically what allows you to get what we get out of our Werebear form, right? So, because ideally Upheaval is a skill on its own that you have to cast, and there's no and what Werebear form specialization gives us is because, as you notice, this skill right here doesn't say Upheaval, it says Maul. So once you transformed, you get a set of completely different skills technically. They act like your skills on the other bar while in human form, but they're slightly different still. Like, for example, Roar is similar to Warcry. It's essentially the same skill. That's why when you specialize into Warcry, all of this will work when you roar. But Maul on its own is not the same as upheaval. So how do we make it work? So here's how. We go 2 points into territorial. This increases our area of maul and roar by 30%. Then we go into fury of the maul, which decreases our cooldown recovery of the skill, which is always welcome. We just pick up all 2 points on it, and then we do tremor slam. And this says after using maul, you now use upheaval towards your target, which means every time we slam with the maul, we also use upheaval at the same time. Now, going even further, now Pummel and Bash. This is maul melee damage to stunned enemies and rage gained with maul to stunned enemies. So basically, every time we hit someone, we stun quite a lot. Basically, with Warcry, you always stun, you always freeze. So your gameplay is you Warcry and then you maul or upheaval. Because you Warcry, everyone's frozen or slash stunned around you. Then you do upheaval and all those enemies are hit, which means you get so much rage back all the time. You get it all back all the time. Then, to go even further, Ruthless. Your rage decays slower while in Werebear form. So this, we have 3 points in this. Basically slows the decay, depletion of your rage. And we have Frenzied Strikes, basically leeching rage through swipe. So every time you use a swipe on an enemy, you gain 4 rage back. And with swipe, we're attacking really fast most of the time, and you attack a lot of enemies at a time most of the time, so you get a lot of rage back. Like, for example, I don't know, you hit 5 enemies at the same time, you get 20 rage back per hit. And another cool thing that we did here is we went Woodland Bear, which is after using Maul, you now cast Entangling Roots. So now we have 2 AoE skills coming out of the same slam. Let's say it like that. So every time we slam with the Maul, we get Upheaval coming out and Entangling Roots at the same time. So let's just jump into Entangling Roots straight away. Or did I miss? I missed this one. Yeah, so another 3 points. We're gonna go into Invigoration. This is basically increasing, giving us more health per kill, and more rage per kill as well. So this is very, very important. Now, Entangling Roots, like here you can see, if I hit it, like you'll see this thing that comes out. It's like in a circle. Like Upheaval is the kind of like these ice shards that are coming out in lines. Entangling Roots come out in a circle and they look like vines and they're surrounded by snow. So let's see. So there you go. So those little lines kind of that look like vines, that's your Entangling Roots. Those things. Right? So on Entangling Roots, we go 1 point into Entrapped. This basically Root Wave immobilizes enemies for a longer duration. 3 points into Reclamation. Entangling Roots leeches a portion of damage it deals as health to you. So this is another venue of leech for us. Noxious Grasp. Entangling Roots deal more damage over time. So this, we don't really care about this too much, but we need this point right here. This is basically what makes Entangling Roots go out in a circle. So this is very important. This is the way you want to go first. And then Briarthorn's Wrath when you're stunned, you now cast Entangling Roots. So every time you get frozen or stunned, you cast Entangling Roots automatically. So that's a very good kind of survivability layer that we have, because once you cast Entangling Roots, they slow and freeze enemies. They have a chance to freeze, they have a chance to chill, slow, and also we get leech from it. So even if he gets stunned or frozen, you know, you have this option of enemies being automatically frozen and leeching life from them. So it's very hard for us to fucking die, is what I'm trying to say. Then up here we went to shredding vines. This is basically physical shred stacks. This is 2 points into thick growth. It just does more damage and has more increased stun chance. And then we went into Winternid Thorns, which is basically turning Entangling Roots into a cold-based ability, just like with Upheaval, right? Like here, this node does that for Upheaval. Here with with Entangling Roots, this node does it for Entangling Roots. And then 1 point into Ice Shard Roots. Roots now have a chance to inflict Frostbite. And 1 point into Thicket of Frost. Roots have gained additional freeze rate per character level. So technically we're at level 75, so this is plus 75 freeze rate for Entangling Roots. Now, this is level 19. We still have one more point to go. I would either spend it on Thick Growth for more damage, or on Thicket of Frost, because this will give us more freeze rate. Twice as much, in fact. Because right now it's 1 point per level, and 2 points per level will effectively double that number. So this might be even more useful than more damage. And the last skill is Warcry. This is a shout that you kind of you cast it before you do anything else, pretty much, because it gives us it freezes enemies and it gives us buffs before we go into battle. Deep Roar, Warcry affects a larger area. Battle Cry. So again, this is the node for increased crit chance. In a retrospect, now I don't know if I would go for it, but we have 4 points in that at the moment. I would instead maybe go either here for healing, or just do more stuff around this area, which we're going next. So Yormund's Wrath. This basically, again, this is a node that converts the skill to a cold-based skill. Then we have 2 points into Frostclaw. You an allied affected by Warcry deal increased cold damage for 4 seconds. And we have 1 in Bringer of Winter. Again, this increases our crit chance and chill chance. Even though if we're not a crit-based build, and I wouldn't necessarily go into the crit stats and crit nodes again, I would still take this because of the chill chance. Chill chance is very good for us. It's still worth it. Then down here we have Juggernaut, invulnerable after Warcry, which is amazing, and then Berserker. This is a fucking bussin' node, man. It gives us Berserker every time we Warcry, and then subsequently, basically Berserker stacks. Just by this node alone, we have 10 stacks that we can get to. Then we have Brutality, which increases the Berserk duration and gives us 4 more stacks. So effectively now we have 14 stacks of Berserk that we can get to. And Fury Strikes, this is basically attack speed per stack, and attack speed maximum is 48%. So every time we Warcry, we have a Berserk on us, and then if we continuously attacking the enemies with Swipe, because that's our... you can gain the stack by using Upheaval, but Upheaval is a very slow skill, so what you want to do is you want to build stacks of Berserk, because they have very low cooldown. Rather, duration. Very low duration. So if you basically Warcry and you haven't hit an enemy in the next second, Berserk disappears. So you have to be next to an enemy. This is predominantly is the best bossing thing, right? So because bosses they always near you, they're always next to you, and they don't die easily, so you can continuously hit them. So basically what you do is you Warcry and then you keep hitting the boss with the Swipe until you get to 14 stacks, which is pretty quickly for us. And then you have incredible amounts of attack speed through this node with 14 stacks. 14 times 12, that's 160%, right? I think, if my math is correct, 160% attack speed, and it's just fantastic. And then once you build them up, you can chain Upheaval. While Upheaval is on the cooldown, you keep hitting them with the Swipe, and then back to Upheaval, then more swipes, then Upheaval, then more swipes. That way you refresh your Berserk stacks all the time, and they don't go away if you're doing it correctly. On the boss, I mean, because on the map, on the Echo, while you're running through the map, like between the packs of monsters, the chances are you kill one monster pack, and then while you're traveling from pack to pack, your Berserk will decay. Like, your stacks will decay, and you'll have to build them back up every time you attack a monster pack. This is why it works better on bossing. This is more for, like, big guys. So that's it. The only thing that I would change here, again, I would unspec out of Battle Cry, and I would go into Breath of Eterra, because this is now healing us as well, and maybe Purging Shout, because we have 4 points here. This only needs 3, and then this needs 1. So you effectively will heal yourself and cleanse the ailments at the same time. So that's an option. Again, another thing, if you're using this helmet and you see it says Warcry is converted to cold, all that means is basically this node, it gives you this node without having to have this node, right? So if you are using that helmet, I don't know if I would still spec out of these two nodes, because these are so powerful. It's 100% increase cold damage with just 2 points. And this gives us 100% chill chance. I would consider it, but I would still not do it. And that's why even when I was running with this helmet, I still kept my my skill tree the way it is. Alternatively, you could go this way. You can go, again, I would have to think about it. The only reason I would go here is to get haste. Because this node is for a knockback during Warcry. But once you go cold, you don't knockback anymore. It says it right there, no knockback. So this effectively becomes a mute point. Like, this is a useless fucking skill, passive skill that you don't need anymore. But you need it to go here. But again, I don't know if you need that, because it's gives you spell physical damage. This is absolutely nothing for us. Like if I go back to here, like you see on the bottom it says scaling tags, and it scales with cold area and attunement. So spell physical damage does nothing to us. Haste is the only point that I would be interested in. Maybe then go into here to have more haste duration and mana efficiency. Frenzy could be something. But you know, to keep it simple, I just think these two nodes are more valuable than haste and frenzy. I could be wrong, but at this point, you know, I'm happy enough with the character. I'm not having any issues in terms of moving speed or attacking speed. I mean, yes, it will get even better, and will, you know, it will scale. We're ramping up. We're only level 75, right? So at level 75, I'm feeling real good, man. So passive skills. Now passive skills. This is very simple. We're going full 6 points into Gift of the Wilderness. Health. Self-explanatory. We go full 8 points to Primal Strength. This is health regen and strength. Then we go into Survival of the Pack. Also all 6 points. This is just for flat damage and just leech. Health leech. And we've taken Harmony of Blaze because we want to be able to use 2 swords with this setup. Again, if you're not going for a Sharded Lance set, you could use any two-handed weapon that has shit tons of cold damage on it, and you'll be good as well. But because we opted to go for this set, which means it's a one-handed sword, I wanted to have another sword or something that I could use as a weapon in an offhand, because as you see, as a base here, it only has 14 melee damage, which means I needed something else to add to that damage. And this base is basically one of the best bases for us. This is what you want to look for. Later on, I would even maybe, in the end game, I would swap out of this set, and I would have like 2 of these swords instead. Because, as you can see, this base has 40 melee damage. It has increased melee elemental damage, which is exactly what we need, and increased elemental melee attack speed. So these are basically best in slot weapon bases. But the only thing is you need to find like good ones with good stats, with the ones that would have, I don't know, at least 5 affixes on them. Good affixes that you can then craft later on. This is the best one I've found so far. It has increased physical damage, flat cold damage, stun with melee attacks. Again, this is unfortunate that we got that stat and we cannot change it. And apply frailty on melee hit is also, it's good to have, but it's not something that we need. So basically, effectively on this weapon, I only care about the top 2 stats and the base stats. So this is something that you would want to look out for when you out there trying to grind for weapons. What was I talking about? Yeah, or alternatively, if you're not using the set, you go for two-handed weapon, and then you don't need this point, because this point only gives you the ability to dual wield, basically. Then the Druid Mastery. The most points will go into this mastery. I went full points into chitinous plating because it gives us endurance and armor. Then Spirit Warden 2, tons of health and mana. And then 5 points into Primordial Resonance, increased damage. We always need that. Blessed Springs, all 7 points because it gives us cold damage and increased healing. This is very important to us, very good. Focused Wrath, increased damage while transformed. All 5 points. That led us to Rancor, and this is the point that says no rage decay out of combat. This is the point that allows us to stay in our Werebear form indefinitely, basically, while we're out of combat. And this helps because when you're traveling from pack to pack, you basically in that state of out of combat, right? Like once you kill all the enemies around you, a second later you're out of combat, so you don't lose your rage while you're traveling between the packs. Basically the idea. Then I went and spent 5 points on Bushstalker just to increase our crit chance, but again, in retrospect, it does have health leech on crit here, but we're not critting too much, so this becomes redundant as well. I would spec out of this and go maybe the rest of the points into Piercing Gale instead, because right now I only have 2 points in it. This basically gives us cold penetration, which is important, and at 6 points, you could also get increased Locust attack, cast, and movement speed, increased Crow's attack, cast, and movement speed, but we're not using Locust, we're not using Crows, so those things we don't really need. You would only use this node for cold penetration, basically. The other points here are not that important to us. There's nothing that, like, this is more for totems. This is something that we could look at instead of this. So maybe even together, all these points right here, 7 points, could go into Reverse Spirits instead, because this gives us increased cold damage, freeze rate multiplier, frostbite chance. This might be a better way to do this. But again, I was testing out the whole crit thing. Not the best thing for us. Then we have 8 points in Overgrowth, massive health regen add, increased mana regen, all the things that we need. 2 points in Rageborn, increased crit chance. Again, I don't know if we need that anymore. And all 10 points into Hide Skin, which gives us health and maximum health gained as endurance threshold. This is incredible. So yeah, I would maybe spec out of this, spec out of that, put 7 points into Reverse Spirits instead. Why health regen is important for us? Well, obviously, one thing is we just get health regen constantly, which is good for survivability, but also because of this set bonus. It says 15% increased melee cold damage per 10 health regen, which means, let's see, right now we have 138. That means 15 times 13. That's 150. Well, I'm very bad at math, but it's shit tons of added melee cold damage or increased cold damage. So the more regen we have, the more damage we get, basically. Which is why that's like one of the most important stats to stack on this build. Health regen, health, armor, endurance. Those are your survivability things. And for offense, you get melee cold, increased cold, freeze multiplier, attack speed, physical melee damage, those things. Now I've got a little bit of points in Shaman, just because I thought because I wanted to go for these two nodes because they're incredible for us, but you have to get to them first. So you go 5 points. It's a Sky Warrior, increased damage, increased minion damage, just increased damage for us pretty much. But we need like the other 2 points we don't really care about, so this is the only option. Then we went into Tempest form, which gives us health, shock chance, and chill chance. And then next, we will go into Windbringer, which gives us increased cold damage, increased physical damage, and dodge rating. And then after that, into Shattered Heavens, which it just gives us flat cold damage. And then if we have anything left over, or if we manage to level our guy far enough, we can go into Hailbringer as well, which gives us chill chance, freeze rate multiplier, and cold resistance. We don't care about cold resistance, but we care about the top 2 things here. And that's it for the passives. Like, we don't spend anything in a Beastmaster because we don't need anything there. Yeah, nothing more that we need here. And in the Druid form, yeah, the only changes I would make is, as I said, I would just unspec out of these 2 and put them here. And that's it. And that's the character, guys. So the only thing left now is a map showcase, I guess. So let's pick a random... Wait, where are we now? Are we in the right one? Yes, we are. So let's pick a random... let's say this Echo. And hopefully we're not going to get one shot by anything. So as you can see, we never run out of rage. It's always topped up. Absolutely zero problems. We're chilling. just like that. It's done. Absolutely zero problems, as you can tell. And that's my little guide. Well, I guess it's not little. I wanted to make it littler, but this is my cold Werebear Druid season starter build thing. Perfect for farming, perfect for bossing. Just super tanky, freezes everything. And you know, fits perfectly with my channel. Bear hands. I'm the bear. I'm the bear. Everything's about bears. I finally have an ARPG where I can get to play as a bear and have fun with it. Because I hate playing Druid in Diablo 2. It's boring as fuck. I hate Druids in Diablo 4. Even more boring. And PoE doesn't have any shape-shifting skills, so sad. So, last Epoch, guys. We will be streaming on the release of the game, 21st of February. Don't forget, tune in. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks for, you know, if you made it this far, holy shit, what a trooper. I appreciate you. Salute to you, and thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you on the next video. Take it easy, Kazi Wazis.